Hello, welcome to episode 95 of Your Ultimate Comeback. I'm your host, Brad, with my co-host, Raquel. And we have a special guest today that we're super excited to have on the show.
We sure do.
We talked about her a little bit. Was it the last episode or the episode before?
Oh my gosh, they're all blending together, Brad. I think it might have been 2 episodes ago.
I think it was 2 episodes ago. So this is Mary Buckingham.
Yes.
And this is who I saw a few weeks ago. I was calling it my counseling session because I didn't know how else to address it.
Yeah.
And it just came out. It was a spiritual journey that I took with her. And then Raquel jumped on and did one with her. So Mary, we're very excited to have you here.
Oh, I feel I'm like getting emotional. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
So start off, tell our listeners what it is you do. I did a really bad job explaining it because I didn't really know when I went into it. I just wanted to do it because of the referral I got for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you did a great job of explaining it. I mean,
spiritual journeys.
I've been saying soul scan because you said soul scan.
Yeah,
and I like that.
I like that a lot.
One thing I do like to say, because this is this question I get a lot on podcasts and stuff. It's like, what do you do? Like, what is your actual label? And I do like to avoid labels. So I typically say to the people who I'm talking with, who usually have had a session, what was your reflection of it? Because it does give listeners different angles, because you can't, there's a man that I know who I adore, who's a teacher. He talks about how you can't understand a truth unless you look at it from 12 different angles. Ooh. And I think that like with self-development, self-help, spirituality, consciousness, there's so many different labels and names, and I have found what has served me best is to not label myself as anything, because I'd like for as many people as possible, if that's what happens, if it brings us together, to have their experience with their soul. Because to cut to the chase and answer your question, it's basically like I connect with people's souls, and it's an ability that I've had, I think, for as long as I can remember, but I just really reconnected with it later in life. And if you experience a session, it can be likened to getting a scan. So we are all memory banks that are walking through life, which means, and regardless of what your beliefs are, you can take this with a grain of salt if it doesn't resonate, but we are all, as humans, we have past, present, and future aspects of ourself. And because time beyond the third dimension is non-linear, the past, present, and future technically are all existing simultaneously. So the soul is the eternal aspect of all of us that we all have. And we have a higher self that is kind of like the spokesperson for the soul aspect of the individual, which is why when you guys have had your sessions, I say in the beginning, please don't speak, like just let me connect with you and see what the real you is communicating to me. And it goes in such different ways for every single person, because we're all such unique fractals or expressions or drops of water in a large ocean. So many times when people have a session, it's like their first time really feeling seen at times, which can be super emotional, because we live in a reality where there's a lot of illusion, there's a lot of masks.
You think?
And so like a lot of people are in a lot of pain, and they are covered in shame and guilt. And those are oftentimes a lot of the nonverbal aspects that are just communicating. And so I'll kind of stop myself there because I'll just keep going and going. But
I just want to say, when, Brad talked about it, it was kind of the oh my gosh, mind blown. You're talking about Mary, and I've known you for a long time. You've taken my classes before. I know who your mom is. I know your aunt. I actually set your aunt up on a blind date that turned, not a blind date, maybe it was a blind date. Anyway, set her up with someone, and they ended up dating over a year.
Because Raquel's a matchmaker.
I kind of am. Brad knows that.
Yeah.
But when Brad told me, I just thought, wow. I mean, I knew that you yoga and sound baths and things like that. I had no idea that there was this part of you. But I have to say, there's two things that were my takeaways, real big ones. When I first opened the Zoom with you, and you just explained what you were going to do, I started sobbing. Mm-hmm. Now, Brad was laughing when we were talking about this earlier because he knows that I'm a crier. And if anybody knows me, they know I'm a crier anyway. So that's maybe not, they're like, okay, so you started crying, big deal. You do that all the time. But this was not it wasn't like a little single tear streaming down my face. It was sobbing, really, not that way, but to the point where when we were done, I could not breathe at all through my nose. That kind of crying, and it was so instantaneous that I thought, whoa, this is going to be wild. This is just going to be wild. That, and then also when we were done later in the day, I was a noodle. I could not believe how tired I was, and you said the same thing, right? Just wasted. Yeah. Like, what the heck happened to me?
Yeah, everyone that I've sent over to talk with you, they've all felt that after. Yeah. It's like, I was so tired.
Yeah. Almost like you've gotten stuff out and sort of, so that's definitely something that I thought was cool.
But what's weird is you don't do a whole lot of talking.
No. We kind of did because she didn't have someone afterwards, and we chatted about the fact that she was going to do the podcast with us after my session was closed. Yeah. But you're right. And her eyes are closed. And did you do your eyes closed?
I did not. No.
Yeah, I was taking fastidious notes.
So was I.
Yes, even though my session was recorded. But it was wild to me how, and by the way, she looks like Lana Del Rey, so if you guys are not tuning in.
I almost introduced her as that.
Yeah, you should have.
I don't know who that is, but.
Yes, you do. You really don't know who it is. Brad, oh my gosh.
But I thought it would have been funny.
Okay, yeah. But to the point where she's been mistaken for. That's how beautiful this woman is.
True.
Yes, and you are beautiful. Stop. You have to just say thank you. That's what Brad and I talked about many episodes ago. Just learning to say thank you when people say compliments. But I was equal parts a little hesitant because like, whoa, what is this going to be? And excited. Did you feel that way, or were you just like all in? Because
I was all in. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was all in. Mm-hmm. I like that. I knew who Mary was. Right. I realized, like, right before our session started, that she used to take classes at the weight room, but we didn't know anything about each other. Mm-hmm. To the point where, when the person who referred me showed me your Instagram, it didn't click who it was.
She's had many different colors of hair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So the part I love the part where we don't know anything about each other.
Yeah.
I first names pretty much is it.
Yeah.
A little hi in passing periodically.
Sure.
And to have, I don't say a word on the call, and to have Mary just dig in and hit some of the deepest struggles that I was dealing with, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Well, she was very thrilled when I told her after our session was over, and I said, well, Brad has taken the week off. And show her your bracelet. Are you wearing your bracelet?
Oh, yeah. I got an Archmichael bracelet.
That she talked
about. The Sword of Truth. Yes, I love that.
You told me I was super connected to him.
Yes. Well,
he's a good student.
You are. Well, I'll say like because a big part of what you're describing when you were connecting with the energy.
You mean the sobbing?
It's like you were, because the soul is non-linear. So like humans are so programmed to have things, okay, we start at this time.
Yes.
We end at this time.
Yes.
But when we can connect with this aspect of ourself, which is a frequency, because another way that I term this work is I'm very sensitive to energy and frequency. So emotion is energy in motion, and every emotion is an energy that is moving at a different rate. It's oscillating at a different rate, which is what frequency is. It's the measurement of oscillations. And so when I tell Raquel and anyone who cries, like immediately or before the session or leading up to it, I'm like, that's beautiful. It's already working. And it's not
so I'm a better student than you, Brad.
Dang it.
Well, and then
session's not over yet.
That's true.
We may find out something different.
That's true.
Well, and when Brad is saying like not knowing anything, it's very important for me, at least personally. Everybody does these types of things differently, but I find that it's so much more impactful for people to be able to experience something that is nonlinear and it's not the norm because it hits different, which is kind of the point. It's supposed to kind of awaken a part of you that may be covered or like dormant or blocked or in a lot of pain. And I think I will say, like, even just walking around, like town or traveling, a lot of people are suffering like hugely. And
you can sense that.
Yes, definitely. And it's because we live in our modern time, we've got screens everywhere, you know, unhealthy frequencies that we're getting exposed to, not to get like tinfoil hat, but obviously I do blend into that category a little bit.
No, but I believe that, you know, it's constant.
It's constant. And you guys are in the wellness space and you guys are like the backbones of a lot of people. Like, so as my reflection to you guys, who I adore so much, you've had group classes you've been doing forever and training. And so many people have probably come to your class to get the sunshine that you provide for them. And sometimes it's going to make me emotional, but there's probably so many people that the only thing they got out of bed for was for your class that day. And the next day and the next day. And they're like, if I can just get to Raquel's class 3 times this week, I'm good. Okay. Kleenex and then for ready. Brad, it's like all your clients who you work with, who you've had to put on your back, whether it's the athletes or the professionals or the regular people, like rely like a lifeline, relying on you to get them through weight loss or like something they've never been able to achieve. These are the people who are helping other people, who their role is service to others, are so strong. And I'm just saying this because it's coming through, but it's relevant to you guys because you guys, I think with people who are in the fitness space, trainers, who I work with a lot of personal trainers who happen to be, because you guys are tapped into something, whether it's subconscious or not, or conscious, that you want to help other people.
Yeah.
And you know, we live in a physical dimension. So like, but we are multidimensional, which is another thing I teach and talk about, because while you guys are doing that, I think we all have a role here on planet Earth. And I think our soul can help guide us back to the truth of that. And my role looks this way and your guys' role look that way. And it's all important to combine them all, because I think science and spirituality are coming into a more conjoined factor now, luckily, because our culture has become so materialistic and the spirit has been lost in many ways, even though it's never lost. It's the illusion of it. But
for us, you mean for the people, it's
just
been
people
lost,
in general. Yeah. And so if you get into enough pain, and you get sick of being in that much pain, because some people too, you get addicted to norepinephrine, the pain neurotransmitter, and people joke about, I'm just a masochist or whatever, and they'll joke about it. And I'm thinking, it's actually not funny to your spirit,
right,
you know, because you're abusing yourself on a level where, and not consciously, it's just more that I think, and I'll say this and then I'll just kind of stop, but like one of my primary abilities, in quotes, is getting visions and seeing things. So I like to describe things to people visually about what I'm seeing in the spirit space, whatever you want to call it, the soul space, because then they can see the repercussions that maybe certain thoughts or behaviors are being created in their true inner self. You know, so if you have abusive thoughts to yourself, you can actually be like cutting your spirit, you know, and then you can it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, you know, like people on a mental health level, which is deteriorated for many right now because their energy and their consciousness is being siphoned into these devices. And then in the wellness space, you guys know, it's like, and I'm not knocking any of these things. It's just, you've got things tracking all the numbers and your mind and people in the wellness space too, like, or just in general, are maybe get into the control stuff, like over controlling of numerics or whatever. And obviously you guys are like vets. So you're working with people on the level where it's important to look at that stuff for sure. But then the mind and the consciousness gets so sucked into that it's like it can lose sight or perspective. And then all of a sudden the mind is like, why is it not working? I'm doing this perfectly. Like there isn't a beat that I'm missing. What am I missing? And usually it's usually when someone has a session because they're like, they get referred or they get into enough pain or they're confused. And then this kind of thing can just recalibrate because we have these multi-dimensional aspects, and so but they're all frequency layers, and so people's energy bodies can get really like lopsided or compromised, and so it's really just a matter of connecting with someone and having the conversation, because it's like I'd rather almost call a session a conversation, even though it's definitely not a normal one, but it can hit the heart, which is, this is our real brain.
Yeah. Well, mine was heavy. Yours was heavy, right?
Yeah, my experience was, I was at that breaking point.
Like what she's talking about.
Yeah. I had no more time in the day, and I was not getting ahead, and I was getting overwhelmed and just irritable and frustrated. And I mean, literally I was getting up at 5, leaving the house at 5:30, going all day long, not getting home until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm just feeling horrible, feeling like I'm not, being productive at all. Totally gave up on myself. Wasn't doing anything for myself and those days. And that was the first thing she caught on. She's like, you got to slow down. She's like, seriously, like, you got to slow down.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't have time. She goes, no, you got to make time.
I don't have time to slow down.
It's like, no, you this is coming through hard. Like, you got to slow down. Like, you have lost connection with yourself. Your head's down in the physical world, and you're just going. You've completely disconnected from your spiritual world. And that's a big thing for you. Yeah. And you are ignoring it. You're so busy, you don't see it. Like, you have to slow down. Yeah. And she even challenged me. She's like, you need to, like, take a week off. Like, you just got to take time off, and it's going to suck, and you're going to have withdrawals, because I was highly addicted to the norepinephrine of just to go. Yeah. And the caffeine and all the stuff. And the first few days sucked. Did they? Oh, it was super hard. I was really exhausted, super tired.
Did you sleep a whole lot?
A ton.
Good for you.
What I loved about this past week was that I didn't set an alarm clock. I just woke up when I woke up.
Nice.
It's really good.
Yeah, and it's like amazing how much better I feel at the end of the week. And I still did stuff. I still had stuff to catch up on. Yeah. But what's funny is I came home, and literally the day before, one of our members had given me a book by Joe Dispenza, as I say his name.
Joe Dispenza, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza. You got to read this book. I heard a podcast. I thought of you, and I didn't start reading it. And then, Mary has her session. I'm just going to start reading this book. So when I took my son to Vegas, I started reading the book. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I had coffee with a good friend. He's like, I was thinking about you. Here's this guy I want you to start listening to. Here's this book you should read.
Not him, too.
It's the same exact one. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, wow. So I spent all week, I wake up, first thing I do would, meditate and kind of reconnect with my spiritual world. And
you have a brightness to your eyes.
It's
back.
I realize how important that is to me. And I completely cut it off. Like, I just stopped. I've been riding my exercise bike, haven't gone and lifted weights or anything. Yeah. Just my whole focus was, okay, I'm going to reconnect with my spiritual world after my session with Mary. And it's been I'm a lot happier. Yeah. Like, I'm sitting back, I'm like, what was I going so hard for? Like, what am I trying to accomplish?
That's the thing.
I can't even tell you what the whole goal was of what I was literally just trying to survive the day with and so I spent a lot of time like repurposing my life and what's important and how do I want things to be. And I thank you for that.
That's so nice.
I know. Isn't that great?
I am so glad when people actually like integrate the session and actually take what is being reflected back to them from them. Like I am literally only mirroring what they on a different level are communicating. And so I actually like literally said this today to someone I saw earlier. Because sometimes people, like, especially if they book with me several times, which can happen, and I don't, it's not that I'm not attached to how many times people come. It's like sometimes it's one and never again, and sometimes it's a lot. It just depends on what that person, because it's on them. Probably. You know, they're the ones booking. And sometimes people can kind of just do things just to do things, especially if they have the means to do it. So they're not. Oh, I hear what you're saying. They're kind of just not maybe honoring it, which is really just they're not honoring themselves. Right. I'm like, I'm good, but if you're going to treat yourself in this way and just be sort of like ignorant to parts of you that are communicating to me, then we need to have another conversation, you know, like maybe book less or maybe like take some time. Cause then cause it's all an exchange. So if there's an unhealthy dependency or something that I'm sensing, we're going to have to call that out. And basically there's all types of ways that people's, soul communicates, and people that they're connected with on the other side or on earth. And they are given very specific directions. Like you guys both know, I mean, you get specific information that's coming through from the ether or whatever. And when people are kind of just that in and out, that attention span thing, that's when I see, that's where I believe a lot of this disconnection from spirit comes from. Because if we can just reclaim that aspect of ourselves, we're not only doing a huge service for ourselves, but for a lot of other people. Because like for you guys, it's of the utmost importance for everybody, but because so many people can plug into you guys as a lifeline in so many ways and have been for so long, there gets a point where like those people are like, I can't even get out of bed. Like I can't even, and I've been helping all these people. And that's actually the best thing that can be happening, because it just means that you're on the cusp of a huge, not only breakthrough, but the next upgraded version of yourself, because it's not even like a better version or like I was so much worse before. It's like, I believe that we're all as humans upgrading on a much larger collective level, spiritually. And I definitely see that. Like we're entering into a phase of, some people are calling it the new human, where we're integrating actually higher spiritual aspects of ourselves into the earth plane and integrating it into our day-to-day, into our jobs. And you guys will see, because I've been seeing it firsthand the last several years, people get hit with light from the inside out, and it can feel really dark at first because the light is exposing everything that hasn't been conscious. So you can feel like you're in this cave of unconsciousness, like aspects of self that have been neglected or ignored or not tended to, which is why so often in sessions, my higher self will take me back in someone's timeline, and I'll just like see things like a movie and like specific ages, and their soul is just showing that, because it's like, if we can just revisit this, like their higher awareness will reflect on it and their consciousness will expand. So, I mean, this all sounds really fancy and complicated, but it's just a way to describe it so people can kind of understand it. Because I think a lot of this type of work can also be misunderstood or even like disrespected. Yeah.
Have you had, you mentioned some people that perhaps you've had that maybe you're addicted to I see Mary weekly or whatever it is, that may not be actually doing the work. And by that, I mean integrating what you have seen, suggested, mirrored. Yeah. I would think that would be frustrating in some ways for you.
Yeah. I mean, like I'll see I'll see, like, one pattern I see is, like, I can tell when someone just isn't listening. Like, they're kind of just dissociated, which is so common now, you know, like, I think, so, like, and I call it, what's the term? Like, auditory receptors, you know, like, we have these physical ears and we have a brain, but we also have, like, spiritual ears. And, like, we have either our hearing is open and receptive or it's not. And because our universe is created by intention, like thought, and thought travels faster than the speed of light. So what that means is that, like, our thoughts are creating reality. And I don't study Joe Dispenza's work, but I have so many clients that are like, do you read Joe Dispenza's things or do his meditations or whatever? Because there's so much crossover. But I do think certain people can really benefit from his work because he really breaks it down with the science from what I understand. But people, if I'm noticing that they're just not listening, then I take that as my responsibility to directly address that, which is not easy.
I'm sure.
You know, it's like it's such an interesting thing because it's like I'm very sensitive and I'm very gentle with people. I like really put a lot of importance on that because if you're speaking to parts of a person that are highly neglected or haven't been seen for 40 years, 20 years, whatever the number is, those parts are going to be terrified. They're also going to be highly triggered. They may also be parts that suffered trauma. So there's PTSD. So you can imagine the dissociation is so much deeper. So, like, you kind of have to almost talk to a child basically and not like your baby talking, but just the frequency of, like, you know, I'm noticing that when you're in sessions or booking, like, things are kind of coming in and out. Like, I can actually visually see it. And that's for them to do the work to get out of that detached, dissociated place, which does not have to be done alone. There's many different ways you can do it. Obviously, like, I have my way of approaching that. But people can also get highly triggered. I generally actually don't have that issue with people, like, getting highly triggered, or, like, I've never had a session where it was, like, scary or freaky or...
You had said something in mine, and I don't know if that's just something that you don't go down the path of, like, if you see or feel something that is really awful, you don't... I'm trying to remember how you worded that.
Yeah. So, like, with the past, present, future piece, like, I definitely see future possibilities, which in this space of consciousness, they talk about how in the 0 point field, which is our heart space, when we can really get present and centered, which is why, like, for Brad, I was like, if you can just take some rest, you can return to your heart, you can return to yourself, whatever the term that would resonate for you most. Because basically, like, with the past, present, future, the future has infinite possibilities and probabilities, which means that sometimes if I see someone, there's, like, it's almost like seeing an intersection and seeing, like, up to 4 or maybe more, but sometimes it's just 1 or 2 directions. One that they're heading, and then maybe a couple more possibilities. And where I focus is into the present because I trust the higher forces so much to take care of the individual that I just do my job, which is because, believe me, they like, higher dimensional information is very much like, it's so hard for humans to grasp the vast intelligence that we are swimming in. So I think people can get excited about seeing something and they want to deliver it to clients, whatever. And there's people that do these types of things in all different ways. But I know for me that the miracles can really take place if you help someone return home, which is into the present, based off of some of the things that I may be seeing that could be coming down the pipeline. And I focus way less on what those are, because if you're, you got to be very conscious of the seeds that are being planted for people. And I mean, I know people who are like famous for their readings, and they do an impeccable job, and I highly respect what they do, because they can go really deep into information and timelines. And it's, if I will, if that's kind of the direction that I'm given, which is more rare, but it's usually when it's kind of like a energy of it's time. And I don't necessarily get into super details, because usually once we're kind of rolling into the session, sometimes it can take about 30 minutes for someone to really just like realize like what is happening. They're like, wait a second, like what is happening? Which is actually the egoic mind, the controlling mind is like, what's happening? Like this is crazy. And that egoic mind, the left brain is the labeling, it's the labeling, judging, minimizing, fearful brain. It's also not the part to be like judged or criticized, because we can use it to our favor. But that part of people can really hold them in like a chokehold. And so it's like kind of part of that, almost like the warrior aspect of yourself, where you're like, I'm done. I'm not letting this part of me beat me down and like control my life. I'm going to do something different and take that quantum leap.
You quoted something, and I'll never forget what you said to me. It's the best thing you could have said to me. The wolves are most aggressive at the gates of heaven.
The wolves?
The wolves are most aggressive at the gates of heaven. That really struck home for me.
Wow.
Because as you're telling me the things that you were, sharing with me, I'm like, I know you're right, but I start fighting it in my head. Like, that road's going to be hard. I haven't taken a week off from clients for years. Purely out of fear. And so like you challenging me with that. It sounds so silly when I say it, but
I don't think so.
It's a scary path for me.
People that know that is a huge thing.
Yeah. So like you sharing all the stuff that you wanted me to work on that my consciousness was telling you to work on. And I share the whole Joe, I can't even say his name. I can't remember his name, but
Joe Dispenza.
It was funny to me how much my soul was looking for the spiritual realm to come back in. Like all these things were popping up and I'm ignoring it. And then once we jumped in and you're like, you got to go here. Like, this is what your soul wants. It's a scary thought.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about Mary made you say, okay, I'm all in? What was it about that for you?
During my session?
Yes.
When she brought up my son.
Oh.
This might get me to cry.
Okay.
This was,
I have one more Kleenex left.
Yeah. No, so.
It's good.
She brings up my son and she talks about my role with my son and the pressure that he's feeling. And nails it. It's not coming from me. It's but pressure around him.
You've said that. You've said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she doesn't even know I have a son.
Okay.
So she brings that up. She starts talking about that. Again, I haven't said a word the whole session, and she brings this up, and she's like, here's your role with your son, and here's. He feels a lot of pressure from everyone else, and he's afraid that if he doesn't reach this goal, that he's not feeling pressure on. That he's not going to handle it very well. So your role is this. And my role with him is to be the buffer.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of said that,
yes.
but she's, she reiterated that to me. And so that when she got into that realm with him, and I know how important, and I could visually see that.
Yeah.
And then to have her, basically connect with him and share that with me, that was like, okay, I know this is exactly what it needs to be. What she's sharing with me, I have to follow through on.
Right.
I thought that was the point where I was like, okay, I know that's true. Without a doubt, I know that's true. And she just reiterated it. So I know everything else she shared with me up to that point is true. And it was awesome. Like all week this week, I got to take him to school every day. I don't get to do that.
Yeah, that's great.
And like this morning I'm driving to school and I just said, hey, that's my...
Here.
I said, hey, I just want you to know I love you. And I'm really proud of you. And he's like, thanks. I love you too. And I said, I'm not proud of you because of what you do. I'm proud of you because of who you are. And there's not many.
Everybody needs Kleenex.
I said, there's not many people in this world that have the heart that you have. I said, and that's the most special part of you. And he just gets this biggest grin. I said,
Aww.
Fight with everything you have to never lose that. Because that's the thing that makes you different. And this world needs more people like you. And just don't ever forget that. And he just lit up. So that was like seeing the power that I have on him, knowing the right thing to say because of the experience I have with Mary. Like,
right.
You know, it has nothing to do with what he does or what he's good at.
Right.
You know, and I told him, I said, I love your passion for things. And I said, I know right now it's football and I'm all in on football. I said, if tomorrow you tell me you want to become an expert at chess, I'm all in at chess. Like, I really don't care because what I see is this bigger version of you.
Sure.
And I never want you to lose that. And I'm here to make sure, and I'm going to fight for you to keep that. So that's when I know, I already knew that.
Yeah.
And so to have her tap into that, it told me that, okay, everything else that we spoke about was vitally important for me.
Right.
Because I think that's one of my biggest roles moving forward is to be that for my kids.
Yeah.
And I got to take better care of myself. I got to be a good role model. I got to do all those things for them to keep guiding them and protecting them in their own.
Yeah. But you are like the exact thing that she wants, right? Someone that listens, takes it in, and then responds in the way, says, okay, I got to make these changes.
Well, and you guys being able to be vulnerable right now like let that energy arise, because so much with like the crying and stuff, that because everybody always apologizes when they start to cry because it happens a lot, and I'm like you're getting your money's worth, trust me. This is energy clearing, like let this come up. I think also with a huge part of sessions is, and again, I don't like labels, but basically souls, obviously have multiple contracts, like multiple people involved in that person's life. And, getting deeper into the contracts is for this exact reason. Like, so what Brad just shared, I'd so much nicer for someone to share their firsthand experience than me sometimes trying to explain it, just because then people can just hear like, wow, okay, that's what that means. Because when I say soul contract, sometimes people could be like, well, I don't want to know, It's not anything that you don't already know. It's just more like an image I'll get a lot is a person at a, like a conference table and like the fine print in front of them. And so I'll know, okay, we're going to get into some contracts today for the soul healing of this individual and whoever is in their life, because basically whatever information that your higher self provided me and reflected back to you, you basically took that jewel and re-gifted it to your son, because the impact that exchange has on somebody's life is massive. Totally. It is like a tidal wave. Totally. And
he'll remember that forever.
Yeah. And it could very much have changed the course of a lot of things for him. Yeah. And that's how serious I am about this kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, because if you think about, even just with you guys, I see this a lot with people who are like therapists or trainers, like just one thing you may have said to a client, it's like dropping this stone of wisdom from all the wisdom that and experience you guys have for them to hear. And this ripple effect goes out. Yeah. And because we are all so interconnected energetically, even if we don't think we are or don't feel we are, that's totally fine. It's so real. So every word that we say to people is so important. And most especially to ourselves, because until we really dial some of those things in, we're actually kind of littering on other people, actually.
Oh.
So it's
that's
like
a good concept.
Like it, and so like people, there's this one thing I hear a lot too in sessions where people, well, I feel like it's selfish, or I feel like I shouldn't think so much about myself, and I'm like, no one's telling you to think more about yourself. It's not that. It's more like if you're hearing yourself, or you just tap into an awareness of what you're actually thinking during the day. This is a great analogy that's really easy to use, is driving is, if you watch your own habits while you drive, or if you notice you judge others or you get road rage or whatever, it's a really good reflection and representation of kind of where you might be. So if you're constantly late, if you're always showing up places in a rush, if you're speeding, if you're running red lights, if you have a history of getting tickets, texting and driving, the list goes on. That's all a reflection. So if you carve out enough time to be able to like take your time to get places and drive at the speed limit, if someone cuts you off, notice the reaction. Like, because driving is such an automatic behavior, we kind of go into like the auto drive. So a lot of the automatic responses and survival stuff can really kick up. That's why there's such thing as road rage or like slamming on your wheel or being like, screw you. Like, and you're like, and then you get home and you're like, that is so not me. Like, why did that just happen?
On my way to teach yoga class, by the way.
It's like, so yeah.
That makes sense though. And okay, that reminds me of, I'm Dr. Nicole that we had on. Remember when we had her on and she was talking about, and she does, what type of doctor is she?
She's a naturopathic doctor, I believe, functional medicine doctor.
Right. Thank you. But one of the things she was talking about when we had her on was if you're constantly rushing, you are in fight or flight all the time. And I thought, God dang it. That is so me. I'm a fast walker. I can't stand being behind slow walkers. So even that, it made me think about, okay, I have to let go of, that is it's a rushing.
Yeah.
It's rushing through life.
I also think like I noticed this with trainers or people in yoga teaching or spin classes, whatever. They're so hard on themselves. And like, it's so good to be aware, because obviously that's what we're talking about right now is awareness of habits, whatever. And I think where we can bring in grace and softness for the self and forgiveness, forgiveness is a very interesting concept because it's your flavor of self-forgiveness is going to be different from yours. It's going to be different from his, mine. Yeah. And I think sometimes a whole session can be dedicated to describing to someone what their flavor of forgiveness that their inner self is seeking. And so I'll just kind of describe it back to them and they'll be like, God, that makes so much sense. Like, that's so obvious. And I'm like, okay, but it's all right, because people love to beat themselves in the head. Trust me, I know that. Yeah. And so with these, and also just the inner energies that we both have, which is both the masculine and the feminine. And the masculine has its role and the feminine has its role. Mm-hmm. And I also like to not even use feminine and masculine, because then people are like, well, they don't feel good if they're here. And I don't outright say it that way, but it's basically like masculine is get things done, task oriented, holding space. The feminine energy is also more, it's receptive and it's receiving and it's, I
would think nurturing.
Yeah. It's also just being. Mm-hmm. And so if those two energies within us are just totally out of whack, then sometimes the session can just be about that for the individual so that they can at least have some point of connection in their, whether it's their daily walk or their daily meditation or their daily prayer, or if they have none of that, which is also probably 99% of people. I don't know what the statistics would be, but like, and I have no judgment on that because I know how difficult it can be to bring those things in the world that we live in. But I think if people can release some of the mind control of like how they should live their life or ego programming, however you want to put it, whatever has been instilled in them, to take a second with their soul to be like, okay, do I consent to this? Like, does my real self consent to this? And oftentimes the true self will be like, absolutely not. I've been really trying to get a hold of you for a while. And like the thing with your knee that's going on, those blood tests that you got recently, like the conversation with your grandma, like all that stuff was me trying to get a hold. So if we're not like slowing down enough, and also fight or flight, beta brainwave is very real. Like that's, beta brainwave is the fight or flight brainwave state. And so that's, beta brainwave is a hertz, which is the frequency measurement. Theta is more when we actually slow down and we can actually like get quiet and even hear what we actually want. And so for you to actually get into a state where you were able to receive the information, which that is a process when it's within itself. You have to be open and willing enough to like even just receive the information. You come into this session, you set an intention, okay, I'm here, I'm open, whatever, let's see how this goes. Judgment comes up, whatever, it's natural. It's like, can I trust her? Like, what is she actually, whatever, all that stuff. Like sometimes we have to go like this around that for like 30 minutes with people. Right. Sometimes it's at the very end, it's the last 5 minutes and they're just like, wow. And I'm like, it just goes to show you how much that part of us, the survival part, the separate part, the part that creates these illusions can really put up a fight. And that's where like the inner warrior, which like anyone in fitness, I really believe naturally has that within them. It's just part of the blueprint. If you're, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, especially with you guys leading a bunch of people, you're putting all these people on your back. Like you have a yoga class with 30 people, 40 people, 50 people, maybe 60, I don't know. Your rooms are always waitlisted and sold out every week.
Not that many, but
it's like you're putting the energy exchange can be like 50 backpacks. And then people still want to talk with you after, and pull and pull and pull and pull. Yeah. And then for you, it's like, I don't know how you guys do your communication with your clients and stuff, but like texting. So that's pulling that part of you there. And so
he's crying right now for a different reason.
It's just like, because we have the physical part, but then, and I'll say this on behalf of all yoga teachers and facilitators, they are so underpaid. It is wild. Like, and I know a lot of people may not do it for that reason, whatever, but a lot of people do it for their livelihood. I don't know, but I think that they're doing such deep work and they usually get into that for such deep reasons. And it's so underappreciated. And it's very sad to see because you see so many of these women get burnout. They feel underappreciated. They feel, you've got 30, 40, 50 people in your class and then you kind of leave. And it's like when you host a party and you get the caterer or whatever, however you do it. And then everyone leaves and there's just crap everywhere and you have to clean up after it. And of course people are like, well, that's on you. And it's kind of like, yeah, I get that. But I do think that if we all collectively became more conscious of like each other's space and energy and boundaries and letting people say no for themselves, like, which I think for people in more service-oriented work, it can be very challenging because people do pay you. And then with that paycheck or them paying you, there can sometimes be like entitlement or lack of respect or like, okay, well, I'm paying you this. So I'm texting you at midnight because my blood sugar is this and I can't sleep and whatever. And you're just like, okay. And then you keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And can almost be never enough, I think, for certain people because they are so depleted and disconnected themselves, which is why people who are in these more service-oriented jobs, like the boundaries and the verbalizing, like what they're seeing can be so hard, but it's of the utmost importance because they alleviate some of the pressure. I think that's a really common one that I see. And I think because people are going to you for kind of help, it's almost like, at least I've found this, it's almost like re-parenting in a certain way, or it can be re-brothering because it can be more of a brother-sister dynamic. It can be re-sistering. It could be re-grandmaing. It can be re-daughtering. There's so many different. So if you have a class with 40 people, that's like 40 different levels of exchange with Raquel. Even if obviously that's why it's good to get into the class. So you put your music on, you lead it, and then you kick out whatever works for you. I think when people can, like, I get that because when I see these teachers, and I've led groups too, I used to teach big groups of breath work, and I haven't done one in 6 months because I'm just listening to my soul right now. I'd love to do one. I get asked literally on a weekly basis. But I definitely know that if I don't like take the direction from that inner part of me, I don't want to say I get punished, but I do immediately, I get like the feedback immediately. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to suffer anymore. I'm good. So I'll just say this boundary that I don't want to say, or I'll just say no to this opportunity. Because the other thing too is you'll get these incredible opportunities, but like in this day and age, there's all types of things and intentions that people have for all different reasons. And so it's like, if you get out of the state of desperation or thinking you need to do something for this or for that and just do it for what feels right to you, like that's it.
Yeah. It's hard to say no to certain things, but you know, I know you do. I know you do. But I think back to the days of when I was teaching spin class. That's when I knew your mom, and was doing, I do 20 classes in a week, that and yoga and it's just, it was a no-brainer. Now I can't. I really have to be very, very thoughtful with my energy output because it drains me so much more. And I notice that about myself, because I don't phone it in when I teach.
No.
You know that.
Yeah, never has she, if you're in Raquel's class, Raquel will be there. It won't be a sub.
Right. No, yes, unless it's my daughter's playing volleyball. Yes. But yeah, I don't phone it in. I am present. That's why if I don't get sort of a response back, if people look like, they can't stand being there or what I don't want to say it hurts me because it's not like I go, but I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I expending this energy for people that don't appreciate it?
100%. Well, even with because I notice this all the time because I'm obviously connected. Like I try with the teachers, to thank them after,
I'm sure.
Just acknowledge them because even if they're not really getting, it's just, I think for you, what you're actually speaking to is just your inner self, your spiritual prowess is really taking over. And that's you're becoming more of who you really are. And that means that just some of these things are becoming, you're just seeing it more. And I think sometimes too with these classes, people are on the memberships. So they're kind of just rolling in with no intention of being okay, I'm gonna really put in the time for myself. So you could have a packed class and it's because I'll notice the teachers will say this. They'll be like, all right, how's everyone doing? And no one responds. And there's just a bunch of dead faces looking back.
That's not okay in my class, by the way.
It's
not. And I feel like that at a certain point and one of the things that you said to me was I had something that I needed to let go of something. And I thought of that as an actual thing. I didn't think about it as okay, which one of my classes am I going to let go? Do you know what I mean? Is actually what the first thought that popped into my mind, because I do have a couple that are a little more draining because of the time or I'm not good at evening anymore. And I still am hanging on to that because I love the group so much. Mm-hmm. Sundays is a tough one for me because it's, doing every day is rough.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's just one class. So, as I've gotten older, I've noticed that. And I think for Brad, he'll do 12 clients in a day.
And sometimes the trainer, do you wake up at 3:30 ever? Or 4:30?
No, sometimes.
He just got to bed at 3:30.
I have a client who's a trainer and he wakes up at 3:30.
To get up for the day?
To get up.
Oh, my.
And I just know that's kind of a thing, especially if you're stacked with clients.
Yeah, I used to start at my first client at 5:15. I had to stop that.
Yeah.
I've subconsciously known this, but this week validated it. If I can wake up when my body's naturally ready to wake up, I function so much better as a human being.
Oh, yeah.
And it is definitely not 5 a.m.
No.
There's actually, I don't know, there's a gland in our brain that, it's the pineal gland, but they say that, if we're not getting enough sleep, or if we're not at least allowing ourselves to sleep in at least one day a week, which I know people with young kids or jobs, this is impossible. So I'm not saying you need to but if you're getting over fatigued or you're ungrounded, some people have insomnia for years and then they get psychosis. There's all types of stuff that can happen. Yeah. There's glands in our brain that need actual rest and they need to not have exposure to light. And I guess that gland, they say that if you can just let yourself sleep in, is the one time that it actually gets to, it's not so shocked from all the light that it's getting. that it actually recovers, and then you're able to actually be more lucid and clear in your day-to-day. And I know personally I'm very sensitive to those things, so I know that I have to be so on point with sleep, because if not, things just get real hazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, this isn't...
Yeah. I get a lot more. It's just anxious energy is what is gone this week that I've been dealing with prior.
Yeah.
But I also notice after talking with you and kind of really paying attention and then being away from it, I'm selling my soul for money. Like I'm saying yes to things that I really don't want to be saying yes to make enough money to survive.
Yeah.
And that, that was kind of one thing that you really hit on in our session from, as this generational kind of idea of you got to strive, you got to push, you got to be successful. And once you get successful, you're going to be happy. And I think it was my grandfather that came in and was like, yeah, that was the biggest lie I passed on to you guys. Stop doing it. By the way, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's my fault. I'm done. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Obviously, and so I can just see that and where I go mentally, emotionally when I do too much of that. I got to a really bad place of just I had a lot of resentment every morning, every day.
Yeah.
I just, the more days I went where I couldn't eat during the day, I couldn't take any time for myself, the more upset I started getting at people, the more frustrated I would, when someone would text me, want to get on my calendar, I'd be like so upset. Like, God damn it, that was my one 45-minute break to eat today, but I have to say yes to you. So, but I was just in a state of unawareness of just like, God, I made a commitment to them. I have to do this. Right. I have to say yes. I have to get them in. That's on me. That was just,
Well, I also think too, like I see with parents, like they're fighting battles like that ultimately their children will not have to fight as hard. Meaning, like you guys hear about the generational healing. Once you break the generational curse, it goes 7 years forward, 7 years back. That could not be more true. Just on the energy levels. But it kind of also, because those battles that you win with yourself just gives them more strength, like not even verbally, it's more quantumly, like you don't even have to be near them, like when they're at school and you're making those better choices, it's sending out that ripple to the people that are connected to you. Because with DNA too, our DNA it's storehouses of information. And, our brains they operate like fiber optic networks. They are receivers and transmitters of information. So like when you think about someone, or like you think about your dad or your mom or whoever's passed over, or like your son, there's always, those are little signs. Like, so I have, other ways that I work with people, and I do work with a lot of people who are very deep into this space, and they try to train to get these skills more sharp, basically, so they can be better gamers. I mean, I don't use this analogy, but a lot of people talk about this reality being a video game. And you're player one and yours, you're player one and yours, I'm player one and mine. So basically, like, you can look at a session as like, let's talk about how to do this better, so you can like get a higher score, like you can help this person on your team. Like,
okay.
It's just like to play it better, because we don't need to suffer. We don't need to be in pain. And we also don't have to withhold.
And don't be an NPC, as my son would say.
Exactly.
Do you know what that means, Brad?
I've heard of it.
Non-playable character.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's where that whole analogy kind of comes in. But basically, like, people either want to play or they don't. And I think that the people who don't want to play don't realize that they can. And it's usually because of a set of beliefs that they may have. And so it's kind of just like, what are you believing? Is it serving you? Is it not?
That. Yes. Yeah. I think that is so good. Yeah. Is it serving you or not?
I hope I'm not talking too much.
No, it's been phenomenal. We love you talking too much.
We are running out of time.
Yeah, I know. So we need.
Fast.
I know. We need to let people know where they can reach you.
Yeah. So I have the best way to book with me is to just book online. I have someone helping me with that stuff, so I don't handle any of that. But that's my old website. MaryBuckingham.com is my website. There's 3 different sessions you can book. it doesn't matter which one you book if it's your first time, because ultimately the first time is really like let's say you book, because I have a hybrid custom where that's when I see people more, is where we do more of the activating practices. Meaning what that means is like, if you feel like you know, in this conversation, like you saying that went by really fast, like there's certain things that you can do besides the talking, that you enter into like a time warp where you evade time. And that's really important for people to get into at least once in their life, so that they can entrain their whole mind, body, spirit to go beyond, you know, so that they can connect with that side. And that's done through certain guided activations, I guess you can call it that, you know, where I'm just speaking directly to something that you or a higher part of you is guiding me to guide you, kind of thing. And then breathing, which is very important. So you can book there. And then I have a course too that's for like learning how to do this all for yourself, which is really what sessions are. But the course is also an option too. And if you're interested in that, you can just email experiencewithmary@gmail.com. And if you have like other questions, you can just email. Like I have some people that I mentor. I have some people who's like they're business owners and they have me work with their whole team.
Oh, that's cool.
Or just like certain people who are like CEOs kind of, who are like in the closet spiritual. And I'm like, let's like not be in the closet about this. Like just come on out with it. This is the coolest part. Your staff will like you a lot more if you let them know that you're interested in this.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That is
awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you so much.
I will be getting back on your calendar in the next couple of weeks. Some more stuff I want to explore with you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show. That was epic.
You guys, I just love and adore you both. And I want to thank you both for all the work that you do for so many people.
Thank you.
It is unbelievable. I'm going to get emotional and I'm going to say this. You guys are doing such important work. It's so unbelievable how many people have put themselves on your backs like a backpack because they knew they could, because of how strong you both are and how incredibly gifted you both are at what you do. Not enough people, I don't think, share that appreciation to you guys. Every single person should be saying that any moment that they're with you. Like, because I can see how much you guys are doing. It's incredible. And if you're a client of theirs, like, it's okay, you know, like if you haven't realized that, but these people are making a huge impact on the world. They are healers in their own right. And I'll say it again, some of the times that your clients have walked into the gym or to your class, they were relying on your spirit to get them through that day. And you could have, they came in, they took your one-on-one, came to your class, and it could have shifted their whole year just from getting themselves to get in there because of who you guys are. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.